So I got this thing where I want to go through these 50 really awesome, wild draft facts for these 50 players that we all expected to see drafted during this 2020 NFL draft, which, begins on Thursday and today's Wednesday. So I felt this was a good day to go through these because this is a really awesome list of accomplishments and also rounds out this idea that I have tried to push from the moment that I started covering recruiting and high school football players in particular. Every high school football player who ends up signing a national letter of intent to play at your blue blood university is the best player in his area in a generation and probably one of the best players anybody has ever seen ever. And now he's going to go join a group of 85 of those dudes in many cases. So let's just start and run through it real quick. All right. And this is compiled by ESPN and I'll share it on the Twitters and whatnot so you can peruse it. But Jeff Okudah, top cornerback in this class, according to some, Jim Thorpe Award finalist, studied Swahili for 3 years at Ohio State. All right, cool. My man's from Texas. Kaylavon Chasen, before varsity football, arrived at LSU camp to support a friend not planning to participate in camp. Then borrowed some cleats, a helmet, and some shorts, and left with an offer. Yo, Jalen Hurts, of course, is one of the strongest cats pound for pound in this draft. Squatted 585 pounds in February, in front of his teammates and told everybody about it in February. And Scott squatted 500 pounds in high school. KJ Hamler, he created original songs, which he and his parents sing and rap. And one of them has over 270,000 views on Twitter. He's a great wide receiver coming out of Penn State. Andrew Thomas told reporters at the Combine that he would wear his football jersey at pep rallies while playing percussion in the marching band. I love that. Of course, Kenneth Murray Jr. is actually a superhero. Projected first-round pick by some. Performed CPR on a woman who was bleeding and unconscious in the middle of the street and saved her life. Of course, I am an OU Daily alumnus, and we covered the paper. The paper covered that event before anybody else. Shout out to the OU Daily, which has put out more first-round draft picks than the University of Oklahoma football team. Fight me. Sean Davis, the father of California safety Ashton Davis, was the front man of the rap metal band Code 3, which played shows with Rage Against the Machine and Public Enemy, which is awesome. Ross Blacklock's dad, right? Ross Blacklock's dad played and coached for the Harlem Globetrotters. So you could see one of the reasons he's good with his hands. Defensive tackle out of TCU. Jake Fromm played in the 2011 Little League World Series. He was 5'11", 163-pound, 12-year-old, and they nicknamed him Manchild. He had 3 home runs. He struck out 11 of 18 batters he faced in the Little League World Series. What? Mekhi Becton, also prodigious talent, 6'7", 364 pounds, ran 5.20 in the 40-yard dash. And that was the fastest by an offensive lineman of his size in some time, right? Also, his strength coach could think of only one person to compare him to when he's talking about his size and agility, and that would be Shaquille O'Neal. UCLA kicker J.J. Molson is part of Canadian royalty. He is the 8th generation descendant of John Molson, who founded the famous Montreal Brewery in 1786. And the Molsons also, own the Montreal Canadiens, so he's got that going for him too. Antonio Gandy Golden had a 1,396-yard receiving season last year at Liberty. Also, a man after my own heart, he bowled a perfect game 2 months after trying the sport for the first time. That is ridiculous depth perception and hand-eye coordination. I'm going to bet it all on Antonio Gandy Golden. Division II, Lenore Rhine, safety Kyle Duggar, ran 4.49 at the Combine, was 6th fastest among safeties, and also studied research physics, the class for which he and two teammates made a laser-timed 40-yard dash machine for his senior project. Aight. Tristan Wirfs, probably the best athlete in this draft class, period. Won a state wrestling title at 285 pounds out of Mount Vernon in Iowa. And I don't know if y'all knew this, but Iowa is kind of a wrestling state. Eno Benjamin, coming out of Arizona State, has his own clothing line. Let's hope that it does not go out like Vocal. Okay. LSU wide receiver Justin Jefferson, projected to go in the first round, qualified for the punt, pass, and kick national championship at 9 years old. He finished third. He and Andy Reid got that in common. Oregon quarterback Justin Herbert might be taken 5th overall by the Dolphins, according to Mel Kiper Jr. Won the 2019 William V. Campbell Trophy, which many refer to as the academic Heisman. Studied biology for his final project and measured the effects of ice baths on blood pressure. Not bad for a dude who's 6'6" and got a cannon for an arm. Mason Fine makes the list, coming out of Peggs, Oklahoma. Peg as in pimp, which is an hour drive east of Tulsa. Only had 813 people reported in the 2010 census and never actually received an offer from the University of Tulsa. I will never let that go. Game-breaking wide receiver Henry Ruggs, right, does a 3-up celebration in the end zone to honor his best friend Rod Scott, who was killed in a car crash. Scott was a great high school basketball player and, well, wore number 3. And Henry Ruggs wants to honor him every step of the way. Arizona running back J.J. Taylor, 5'5.25". My man. An official stretched out the tape from, measured to the ground to make sure, because they want to make sure they get it all. He'll be the shortest person drafted, if he gets drafted, since Trendon Holiday. And Trendon Holiday passed up the Olympic team, trying to make the Olympic team so that he can make LSU training camp. Yo. Notre Dame Cole Kmet, tight end, got to see him up close and personal. Top-rated tight end in the class coming out of high school. And, wow, the thing that I find most fascinating about him, his name is already in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. His helmet from the 2018 game against Syracuse at Yankee Stadium resides there. Man, he could hit too, right? And this list keeps getting even more silly. Like safety Jordan Fuller, 2-time captain at Ohio State. Really great defensive back. His mom was a backup singer for the Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, Whitney Houston, and Luther Vandross. I wonder if it was Fat Luther or Skinny Luther. And then, of course, Derrick Brown is called Baby Barack for his personality, suited for shaking hands and kissing babies. 326-pound man with tremendous charisma. Like, Jordan Love was supposed to be named Michael Jordan Love because his father wanted to make his son a tribute to, yes, his airness. Of course, mama said, it'll be Jordan Alexander, and that'll be that. I keep getting, like, CeeDee Lamb, who did the Dragon Ball Z celebration with Marquise Brown until that got broken up by Mike DeFee and a bunch of Big 12 referees with nothing better to do, still watches DBZ. Still watches it. I'm here for it. My man. Next time on Dragon Ball Z. I also thought having a punter with a black belt in Taekwondo, that's what you're going to get if Braden Mann is your dude. Bradley and Nye told The Athletic he jumps in and pets dogs whenever he sees them. Also swam with sharks, so, that dude ain't scared of a whole lot. And finally, round this out, Evan Weaver, who I think was one of the better linebackers, if not the best linebacker in the middle, playing college football last year out of Cal, has reminders of his has a reminder for his critics because he writes rock ballads about them and sings them to himself.